Hello, my name's Phillip Kingston from Gary Peer & Associates. I am so excited to be at number 3 Blake Street, right in the heart of Caulfield, to have a look at the most incredible home that's been fully rebuilt by Finney, one of Melbourne's leading architectural builders. It's their own home, and we're going to have a conversation with Estrella and Damien, the genius behind this rebuild. So let's go and have a chat. So when the phone call came into the office that this house in Blake Street was, somebody wanted an appraisal, the alarm bells went off in the office because I knew this house. I knew the house from the facade. I had also done a bit of research to know that it had been built by this company called Finney. And you are the Finneys, Estrella and Damien. Yeah. Incredible, because I've worked with some husband and wife building teams over the years, and it's always a pleasure when two people come together in their own business, let alone bringing different things to the table, and create a masterpiece, of which you've done here. Estrella, what part of the business are you involved in?
Well, I'm the general manager of the company.
Yeah.
So basically I do everything that isn't building related.
Yeah.
So the marketing, the finance, new business, anything that's...
And you come with a marketing background, don't you? An advertising background.
I do many decades in advertising and marketing.
Yeah. And Damien, you've been a builder for decades.
Yes, I started off in commercial about 25 years ago and progressed to running multi-level buildings, and decided to throw my hat in the ring in the residential game because that's where my true passion lies.
And your true passion shows. I live and breathe design, architecture. It's my hobby and my business. And I'd heard about Finney before getting the call to come into this house. So literally I was excited to be here. Now, Finney have been responsible for some beautiful architectural homes, whilst I won't alienate any part of the market that you work in, but you do a lot of top-end homes, don't you?
Yeah, we do. We do a lot of work in the Hawthorn, Toorak, Brighton, Caulfield area.
Yeah.
We work with some of the best architects in Melbourne. And we pride ourselves on delivering a high-end, design-focused product to the market.
And working with architects at the top end, it's a pretty exacting process, I would have thought.
It is, but it's also extremely rewarding because you get to use the latest and the greatest materials. You get to adapt your building processes to all their detailing. So then, it gives us an opportunity when we do build our own homes to use those products and details that we like.
And in fact, this home is a, for the lack of a better term, an amalgamation of all of those wonderful things that we've been exposed to with the top end architects. We've kind of put it inside our, our bank, kind of thinking, yep, we love that idea. Let's see how we can incorporate it into our own homes.
So I knew this house before you bought it.
Yeah.
And cool. I'm going to be very kind by saying it was a pretty daggy 70s home.
Yeah.
And yet it's now the most incredible modern masterpiece.
Yeah. Well, when we bought it, it was a family home, and it probably accurately represented that I think it was built in 1974.
Yeah.
So, they basically had the right idea of open plan living, but, in today's world, we orientate towards the backyard, where they were orientated towards the north, wherever that might be, which is the side of the house. So, we had to reshuffle it around to make it, more contemporary.
Well, you've certainly done this because this back room where we're sitting, we'll get some footage of that now, but it's spectacular because it's a large room as it is, and it feels seamless the way we flow out to that incredible alfresco veranda.
Yeah. I think for us, we've always been big fans of that indoor, outdoor style of living. We entertain a lot, we have young kids. So there's two things that was really important for us, was to be able to feel like we're still connected to the outside whilst being inside.
Yes.
And light, just
you can't beat the orientation here, can you? Because you're facing west and you've got a single story on your northern side, so the light in your back garden's amazing. But you could be in this room and you've got young children, so they can be playing in the back garden and you're completely connected.
Yeah.
I'm in love with your alfresco barbecue area because Melbourne being the weather patterns that it is, you can be in the middle of summer, it could be raining, and yet you can be barbecuing out there and feel like you're outside.
That's right.
Yeah, very important for us to have a good barbecue area with our friends. So
that's your area of
my
expertise,
kitchen.
is it?
I have nothing to do with that.
That's my favourite part of the kitchen.
And an intriguing point of view, because barbecuing is a man's area, isn't it?
That is correct.
This is completely a politically incorrect show. But I'm in love with your fireplace because, let's face it, cooking meat and chopping wood is a man's area.
Yeah.
Your fireplace, tell me about your fireplace.
Well, that's it's a fireplace out of Germany from a company called Scantham, and obviously in Germany they have very cold winters. They need to, really make these fireplaces well. And that's that model is the turn model, which rotates. So if you're sitting at the couch watching the television of an evening, you can have it focused to you. If you're having a dinner party here, you can rotate it 90 degrees and focus it towards here. So it's a great fireplace. And I have to confess,
I was playing around with it before, but I love the fact that it does swivel.
It's brilliant.
It's incredible. Speaking of the things I love about the house, I am in love with your ensuite bathroom.
Isn't it?
Look, it's not only gorgeous, but it's seriously sexy too, I don't mind saying. You walk in there and you feel in the mood for going out, you feel in the mood for just getting on with the day. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, and I think my favourite part, I don't like clutter at all.
Yeah.
So I love everything to be seamless, and it's a floating bench top.
Yes.
Which means there's no kind of cabinetry or joinery underneath. All of the joinery or the storage area is hidden behind the big mirror. So if you open that, there's a big storage space.
Right,
you can't see.
I think it was a design brilliance because it's a really bright room and yet you've used black wall tiles.
Yes.
So it's got this great atmosphere, but it's still a bright room.
Yeah.
And yet, I'm not sure that I've ever seen black wall tiles, but it just looks incredible.
Yeah, we vaulted the skylight in there, which obviously lets a lot of sunlight into the room. And we've got the silver travertine porcelain tiles on the floors and some of the walls and black on the others, and it's interesting how they react with each other.
Oh, it just works beautifully. Speaking of skylights, the skylight in the hallway. I remember the day I came to see you, and that was one of the first things that I commented on. This dramatic skylight in the hallway just floods the house in light, and yet it's really architectural at the same time. Was that a plan, or did that just evolve when you came here?
One of the key issues of this house when we first bought it was that it did have a really dark sort of corridor. So the plan was always to open it up and sweep people into the house.
Yes.
And it had two little skylights. They were tiny, weren't they? Tiny little skylights. So we thought, let's bring more light in.
Yes.
And it kind of got bigger.
Well,
didn't it?
I was having with smaller skylights, and Estrella just would come.
It's a bit of an argument over the skylight.
Not so much an argument, but Estrella said, I think it's good, but I think we need more. So the skylight grew and grew.
And grew
until it became a massive feature.
Well, I've got to tell you, it is a huge feature at the house, and it's knockout.
It really is a point of interest as you come down, and as Estrella touched on before, the curved corners, we took out the external corners in the corridor.
Yes.
So that when you entered, it didn't feel like you had to turn a corner to get into the rest of the house. You were just swept around by the radius of the wall, which is really nice, and it's probably one of the things that I love most about this house. It's just the fluidity of the circulation areas, and it's just really easy to live in when it's like this.
Now, speaking of changes, one of the things that I love about this house, and I wish I could afford to do it myself, is solid brick. The solid brick doesn't exist anymore. In fact, we laugh about the fact that most houses are now built out of rendered foam, and we laugh about it, but it's almost true. Solid brick. Do you work with solid brick much anymore?
Well, only in renovations, and a lot of our work is new work. So when we're lucky enough to work on a house with solid brick, we say, well, let's utilise it, because to replace it it's not really a cost-effective way of building. So, having solid brick here, and that's one of the reasons why we love the house, was how structurally sound it was. Having solid brick here, it takes days for it to heat up, even in our hottest February heat waves, and then also in winter it stays warm. So it's a brilliant building material.
Do you know what? And as a builder, you'll appreciate this, but from a consumer's point of view, I know that the houses that I sell that are solid brick, decades on, they seem to just hold and sit better. It's just a tragic shame that it's so expensive, but you know, one of the joys of this house is that it is solid brick. I live in a house where I was silly enough to put down limestone floors. Now they look great, but keeping them maintained is a nightmare. And when I came into this house, I looked at the floors here and I thought, wow, what an incredible stone floor. First of all, I loved the texture and the look of it. But secondly, I loved how just clean and uniform it was in many ways. And then you shocked me and told me it wasn't stone, and I was convinced that it was. Tell me about the floor.
Well, we do a lot of silver travertine in our builds, and we love silver travertine. It's a beautiful product, but the problem is the sealing of it and the maintenance of it. So we got onto this product, which is from Southern Tile, which is a laser printed silver travertine porcelain tile. So there was no sealing, and the cleanup. I mean, it's it's indestructible basically. I mean, from a cost perspective, it's that same price point. But we thought, in our house, you know, we want it with young children.
That's right.
We could afford to, you know, purchase something that was perhaps a little bit more expensive, but was a better product in the long run.
Which is interesting that you say that, because it's not natural stone, but it costs the same as natural stone, and and the general marketplace might not know that. I mean, I love this floor, and if I was doing my house again, I'd put down this because it's just so much easier to live with. But I could not tell that it was not natural stone.
Well, there's no recurring print because it's done via a computer, if you like. Through laser printing, there's nothing recurring about it, so it's more natural than natural. There's no vein lines or.
And speaking of natural surfaces, the batten work on the facade, it's intrigued me.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
It's beautiful, beautiful. So where's that product from? Is it a local product or?
Yeah, that's a wood form product, and I guess that also relates to part of the ethos of building this house. Is we wanted to incorporate as many beautiful things that we may not be able to use on other projects, because when it comes to cost cutting, they might get the chop. So,
and that was one of the things that actually got a chop. We got a chop from a previous project.
Yeah, so we were dying to use it. So when the opportunity came up, we said, let's use wood form battens on the front of the house. And so we jumped at it.
Which goes back to your initial statement at the start of this interview. You talked about dealing with high-end architects. You get exposed to so much beautiful product that it goes into the memory bank. And that's one that came out, is it?
That's right.
And you know, I mean, you mentioned two things that I love about this house is that combination of the timber and the tiles, and there's that real kind of contrasting between the warmth and the cold.
Yes.
You know,
actually, that's
hard
really interesting that you say that, because it's a minimalist house in one sense, and yet it's a very warm textural house in another sense. And I love that. Now, the exciting thing for us is that we've finally made contact with the Finneys. This is house number 5. The bad news for you guys is now I've got my claws into you. I intend to have you moving every 2 years maximum. I believe this is house number 5. Excited for number 6?
Mixed feelings, Phil, because I mean, we really do love this house, and we actually built it to live in, but we've decided for commercial reasons that we would sell it and develop. So, you know, looking forward to the next project, but we'll really miss this house.
Great neighbourhood.
I believe you've made friends with half the street.
Oh, they're so wonderful.
Very
this is
welcoming.
like a real family area. So lots of kids around, there's lots of dogs around. You know, if your dog goes out, somebody brings it back. It's just a beautiful area. You'll be sad to go.
Well, you'll be sad to go, but some lucky buyer is going to delight in moving in. We're excited to be marketing the home for you. We're excited to be starting a relationship with you guys. So thanks for your time today, and let the marketing campaign commence.
Thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Phil.